Imagine a world where people were actually comparing Steph Curry, the greatest shooter ever, to Andre Drummond. Picture a world where superstars were being matched up against players dubbed as janitors, whose primary job was to do the dirty work around the basket. Because believe it or not, this is exactly what's going on. We were not talking about Caitlyn Clarke before Angel Reese walked up to her, did this, and pointed to the ring. How can anyone go on national television and with a straight face claim that no one was talking about Caitlyn Clarke, a player who led her league in both points and assists before her showdown with Angel Reese in the 2023 championship game? If you thought that was absurd, I recently came across a tweet that read, "I don't care what comparisons you make, both Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clarke deserve the Rookie of the Year award." For context, this tweet came after Caitlyn's clear dominance over Angel, outplaying her in nearly every statistical category, winning 3 of their 4 Rookie Year matchups, and leading her team to the playoffs while Angel's team sat at the bottom of the conference. In their latest meeting, Caitlyn posted a dominant 31 points and 12 assists, while Angel remained in the game to pad her stats and chase a double-double. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a crime unfolding in the media right now. You simply cannot compare these two players. You just can't, and in today's video, I'm here to set the record straight. Caitlyn Clarke is the reason why a lot of great things are going to happen for the WNBA. I just hope y'all know, the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think it pays one of my bills. Literally, I'm trying to think of my rent for where I stay at. Yo, I'm living beyond my means. Before diving into their on-court differences, let's look at their off-court contrast. Recently, during the off-season, Angel Reese made waves on social media, stating that the WNBA doesn't pay her enough, specifically mentioning that it can't cover her $8,000 a month rent. She laughed it off, essentially bragging about having other ways to make money and flaunting her earnings, a gesture that feels like a slap in the face to 99.9% of people. I'm living beyond my means. This kind of behavior doesn't exactly uplift the image of the WNBA, which is already struggling. Caitlyn Clarke, on the other hand, despite landing a groundbreaking $28 million deal with Nike, unprecedented in women's basketball, hasn't been flaunting her newfound wealth. Instead, she's already back in the lab this offseason, putting in the work after delivering one of the greatest rookie seasons in history. She's gearing up for an even more impressive sophomore year, recently hitting 25 three-pointers in a row during training. She followed that up with a message to the rest of the league, sharing her commitment to improvement and giving a glimpse into her intense training regimen. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. I feel like there's just so many areas that I want to improve in and continue to get in the gym and work on that every single day. One seems consumed by her own brand and image, almost narcissistic in her approach, while the other is a true hooper, fully devoted to the love of the game. You see what I mean when I say it's almost criminal to compare them? But anyway, their differences will be even clearer once you see what they bring to the court. I was never a big WNBA fan before Caitlyn Clarke came on the scene, but once I watched her highlights, I couldn't help but say, dang, she's good. The moves she pulls off, the way she shoots, it's just like, dang. Watching her play inspires me to be a better hooper myself. I could watch her all day. It's pure art, or as Mark Jackson always says, poetry in motion. At the same time, however, I found myself wondering, what's the big deal? No offense to Caitlyn, but I see plays like this every day in the NBA from Curry, Lillard, and Kyrie, for example. So why is everyone making such a big fuss over her? But then, after watching highlights of other WNBA players, it all made sense. Take, for example, the player who they've been comparing her with. When you watch Angel Reese's highlights, it honestly makes you think, really? This is who they're comparing to Caitlyn Clarke? Are they actually serious about this comparison? I mean, when you watch Angel's highlights, the first thing you'll notice is that she shoots everything right at the rim, barely anything from beyond 5 feet. On top of that, most of her shots look like pure hope, like she's just throwing up prayers at the basket. Long pass, perfect to Reese. You could watch her highlight reels all day, but it's basically just the same thing over and over. Back down, shoot, repeat. Now, can you see why I made that Steph Curry versus Andre Drummond comparison in the intro? No offense to Andre Drummond, he's honestly much better. But honestly, when I first watched her highlights, I thought, This can't be all there is. She must have made plenty of shots from beyond 5 feet, otherwise how could they even place her in the same category as Caitlyn Clarke, who handles the ball like a wizard and pulls up from Steph Curry range? Well, I kid you not, this is her actual shooting chart straight from Basketball Reference. Over the entire season, she's made just 3 three-pointers and only 17 shots from outside the paint in 34 rookie-year games. That averages to 1 shot outside the paint every other game. Meanwhile, here's Caitlyn's shot chart in case you were curious. As you can see, it's a spread of buckets from all over the court. Here's where things get even crazier. Some people are actually comparing the rivalry between these two players to the iconic Bird and Magic showdown from the 80s. This is Bird and Magic? Honestly, this might be the biggest case of basketball blasphemy I've ever heard. I mean, the only real connections seem to be their skin color and that single game from the 2023 NCAA Finals where, with her teammates' support, Angel's team defeated Caitlyn Clarke, followed by Angel's now infamous trash-talking moment. Those are literally the only 2 things linking them to Bird and Magic. Right corner, Bird, bomb good. Let's be real, Caitlyn brings a full arsenal of moves, shooting range, and passing ability. You could reasonably compare her to Bird or Magic, minus the size. But seriously, which part of Bird or Magic's game does Angel even remotely resemble? I mean, just look at how Bird played and how Magic played. Can you honestly picture someone going up to Bird or Magic and saying they remind them of Angel Reese? Since that 2023 Finals, it's been a one-sided showdown with Caitlyn consistently outplaying Angel. Just take a look at the stats. Across the board, Caitlyn has dominated Angel in nearly every category except rebounds. When you compare team standings with and without these 2 players, the difference becomes even clearer. The Chicago Sky, who finished second to last in 2023, have fallen to dead last with Angel Reese. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever, who were last in 2023, have climbed to the 3rd seed in 2024 with Caitlyn Clarke. With evidence like this, can y'all see why I say putting Angel Reese in the same conversation as Caitlyn Clarke feels almost criminal? By the time 2025 comes around, comparing these 2 will seem even more outrageous. The reality is, Caitlyn Clarke is likely on track to be the WNBA MVP next season. In her rookie debut, she was already ranked 4th on the MVP ladder, putting up averages of 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. In her second season, those numbers could easily climb to 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists, likely with improved efficiency. If that sounds like a stretch, consider this. Over her last 10 regular season games with full minutes, she's averaged 24 points, 9 assists, and 5.5 rebounds while shooting 37% from 3 and 92% from the free throw line. When you compare Caitlyn's recent stats to past WNBA MVPs, her performance in those last 10 games would be enough to secure the award. Outside of Aya Wilson's incredible 2024 season, Caitlyn's numbers have outshined almost any other MVP in history. Take this, for example, Aya Wilson scored around 27 points per game as this past season's MVP, but the next highest scoring average by any WNBA MVP previously was just 23.9 by Maya Moore in 2014. And here's the kicker. No WNBA MVP has ever averaged more than 5 assists per game. The highest was 4.7, set by Cynthia Cooper all the way back in 1997. In the 2025 season, Caitlyn Clarke has a real shot at doing what she's done multiple times in the NCAA, leading the WNBA in both points and assists. That's absolutely wild, guys. This hasn't even been done in the NBA since the introduction of the three-point line. The only player to ever accomplish it was Nate Archibald with the Kings back in 1973. Caitlyn Clarke has been making serious waves in the sports world, recently ranking as the 4th most marketable athlete, right behind LeBron James and even ahead of Messi. And yet, they want to compare Caitlyn Clarke to Angel Reese? They're really putting the golden girl, who's on the verge of transforming an entire professional sports league and redefining women's basketball, side by side with this? I just hope y'all know the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think it pays one of my bills. Literally, I'm trying to think of my rent for where I stay at. Yo, I'm living beyond my means. Ladies and gentlemen, that's pure media blasphemy. But anyway, do you know what else was a disaster recently? The final game of the WNBA's 2024 championship, Game 5. Honestly, this was the only Caitlyn Clarke-less WNBA game I've watched from start to finish, and I was stunned. They managed to embarrass themselves on a global stage with this one. If you're curious what I mean, make sure to check out this video where I break it all down for you. Conclusion. So, what do you think about the comparison between Caitlyn Clarke and Angel Reese? Is it fair, or is it, as we've discussed, a crime to compare these two players? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates and insights on the basketball world. Don't forget like, share, subscribe.